Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I was going to do this video in my Star Trek jumpsuit as Dr. Bradley Crusher, but I thought that was a bit too much. Anyway, so today's topic, I was struggling to think about what I was going to talk about today, and it only just came to me. Well, it was lucky I had Angela Cooper gave me an idea of talking about this subject. And it was only until this morning that I kind of put it together in my head about what I was going to say about it. And what I wanted to talk about today is trans people working in the adult industry and other trans views on this. And I say other trans views because it's mainly other trans people who don't seem to like trans people who work in the adult industry. Again, this is just my opinions on things, and I'm not saying that all people who don't work in the adult industry as trans hate people who work in the industry. I'm just saying that, as in all situations and all walks of life, there are always a few people who give other people a bad name. On both sides, of course. There are people who work in the adult industry who are not working properly or safely and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to people on the other side who are just merely just judging out of jealousy or because they feel that people in the adult industry are giving them a bad name or for whatever reason. Now, obviously, for those of you who know or don't know, I used to do porn. I used to be in the adult industry. Um, I did that for about 6 years. And I've worked in all aspects of adult industry, whether it be escorting and webcam work, and all those kinds of things. Now, obviously, as I said before, I grew up in a time where there was no internet, there was no other things like that. There was also not very much known about trans people, and so getting a normal job was very difficult. Now, I've had normal jobs in the past when I was younger as a trans woman, but I've just always felt very uncomfortable in doing those kinds of things. And also, those kind of jobs, they don't pay great. I hated school, so I was never there very much. So I don't have like an amazing education as far as exams go. I mean, I think I'm smart enough to a certain degree, but I don't have loads of qualifications, as it were. I just have common sense, which I think is quite important anyway. Um, and obviously, I wanted a lot of surgeries and things like that. So to me, I was thinking in a business way of thinking, how can I make money as quick as possible? To get all the things done that I want to get done. And so I'm not saying that, I never grew up dreaming of doing that kind of thing as a living. I've always wanted to be a singer. Plus, I was well aware that, going down that road would probably lead to other obstacles later on in life for other projects because of what I did, which is very true. But, sometimes you don't always have all the choices you want. And you, I was trying to be smart about it and think, well, how can I get all the things done that I want to get done as quick as possible? And to me, it was this that was the option that I chose. And I don't regret it because I don't believe in regrets, and I just believe that wherever you've got to now, as long as you're happy and you haven't killed anyone, of course, that you shouldn't regret anything you've done because you can't change it, and it's just going to dwell on you and make your life more difficult in the long run. So, but I had it so many times over the years, not so much now because I don't do it anymore, but other trans people were saying, you're giving us a bad name, you're degrading us, you're a slut, you're this, you're that, you're that. And I just think, for one, I went into that job because, I did it purely to pay for surgeries. That was the only reason I did it. And as soon as I had the money to stop, I did. Once I had all the money to get all my surgeries done, I stopped doing it because it was just purely for that. Now, I know that some people go into that because they enjoy it or they fell into it, but they still kind of enjoy it and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was never really something that I'm just being honest, I never really enjoyed it. But it served a purpose, and I was so driven at the time that I was able to just do it, and it was fine, and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't do it again. But I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with it. I met some of the most nicest people I've ever met in the adult industry, and I wouldn't change it. But you know, I just wish that people would just think, you get so many other trans people saying, "Oh, you're a slut, or you're a slag, because you've done this, you've done that," and even guys as well. Sometimes, I can remember guys saying, "Oh, how often do you get checked?" and all that kind of stuff, for health scans and stuff. And it's like, you know, I would rather, if I was a guy, I would rather sleep with someone who worked in the sex industry, who was getting tested all the time, who was treating what they were doing as a business, and they were safe and they were getting checkups all the time, as opposed to going home with someone from a club who, you don't know them from Adam. They could be doing that every week with a different person, not using protection, not getting checks, not getting tested. To me, that is far more dangerous than someone who does that for a living and takes it seriously. Now, of course, there's some people who don't do that in the industry, the same as there's some people who don't do that in normal walks of life. It's all about the individual. But, you can't judge someone just because of the job that they do or have done. I've had quite a few opportunities that I couldn't do afterwards because of working in the adult industry. I even had the Sun newspaper not use me for an an article they were doing about trans women because I'd done porn. And this is the Sun newspaper here, who had page 3, and they wouldn't use me. How hypocritical is that? But that's another story. So I just wish that people would sort of think, at the end of the day, these trans people are not sitting around claiming benefits. They're getting up and they're doing something with their life, whether you approve of it or not. They're making their own money. They're doing something about the situation that they're in. They're trying to give themselves a better life. They're trying to get the money for the transitions, all that kind of stuff. They're working for themselves and they're not taking from the state. So that's got to work for something. It, I just don't understand the mentality. People are trying to help themselves. Life is hard. I find life hard. I think life is hard. I don't think it's a bundle of roses. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard life, and I think you have to try and make the best of it. And working hard and just doing something is making the best of it, I think. I don't think people should be slammed for trying to make a living, in whatever profession it is. And at the end of the day, the sex industry and prostitution and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of like one of the oldest professions in the world, definitely prostitution anyway. It's been going on for many, many years. And, women that do prostitution or escorting or adult work or webcamming or all that kind of stuff, they're not, women in general aren't labelled as escorts and all that kind of stuff, or women that do that do not give the rest of the female population a bad name. So I don't understand why transsexuals that do that are giving other trans a bad name. There's nothing wrong with the adult industry. It's a business. It's not. It shouldn't be seen as something seedy and disgusting. It's a profession like any other, and it's that's maybe the way that some people have to go to pay for things or to live their life or just to survive. At least they're doing something with their life, and I think that's, you should be looking at it in that respect as opposed to hating on someone. And the thing is that these days with the webcamming and stuff, I heard Kelly Pierce talking about this subject. That webcamming is for trans people now one of the safest jobs to do in the adult industry at the moment, because you have complete control. You can be in the privacy of your own home. No one is going to be touching you. No one knows where you live. No one is going to try and attack you or anything like that. It's a safe place to earn money and not have to worry about your safety. I think times have changed a lot now, and I think that a lot of young trans people, especially in England, they can go and get normal jobs, and they don't ever have to go into that world. And I would definitely suggest that you really need to think seriously and long and hard before you decide to go and do anything in that world, because it does change you to a certain extent. Even it doesn't matter how tough you are, it does affect you in some way. Good and bad, it affects people in very different ways. But I'm just saying that it does change your view on a lot of things, in the way that your life is, and the way life and romance and love and sex work and all that kind of stuff. But you need to think about it before you go into that kind of industry. I just wish that it wasn't seen as such a bad thing, because for some of us it's our only choice and it's our only way to survive and get the things we want to get done. And at the end of the day, people that work in the adult industry, they're people too, and the people that I've met in the industry are some of my best and closest friends still today, and who I cherish dearly, and are some of the nicest people I've ever met. They're just normal people who are just, that's their job. You know, you have to look at it, you know, whatever way you want to look at that kind of thing. It's their job, and they're doing it as a business, and they're just trying to survive in life. You know, I think we should, you know, again with everything, you know, especially as trans people, we should be aware of the negativity and the judgment that we get from other people. And I think we need to stop and think before we open our mouths on social media or in public to people, and just, you know, stop and think before you say something nasty or you judge someone for what they do or how they dress or how they look. Because, you know, we're all on the same journey, and we're a small community. Even in the whole world, we're a small community, and we don't need people in our own community throwing hate and shade at each other. You know, let's just get on. I just don't understand why we can't. I mean, I know it sounds a bit, you know, the way I'm talking and stuff, you know, a bit Disney or whatever, but, you know, I just don't understand why we can't just all get on with each other. There's no reason, you know, there's disagreements and fights and wars and everything going on with other people and other reasons, for other reasons and stuff. And I think we have a good opportunity to just really unite as a group of people, because we're all in the same situation, and we're in a very small minority, and we're still hated on, and we don't have as many rights as other people, and we're still not classed as proper people in a lot of places. You know, for all of those reasons alone, it should be enough for us to support each other. So please support me, and please support everybody else in our community. You know, let's all love each other, please. Despite my harsh outfit. Anyway, that's all for today, and have a really good day, everybody. I put videos out every Sunday and Wednesday. Please like, share, and subscribe. Lots of love.